Okay, I want to welcome everybody to the October 26th Board of Commissioners work session, where we're going to be pleased to have the representatives from each of the 6 cities in Cobb County provide us information about how they're utilizing their C.A.R.E.S funding. So, first one up is the City of Acworth. So, Brian, good to have you today.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for allowing us to be here. And on behalf of the mayor, who couldn't be here today, I do want to thank the board for their consideration for these funds. They've gone a long way in our community. We did share this presentation with Commissioner Gambrell the other day, so she had a chance to see this, and I know you've all had a chance to look at it. The city received $1.1 million as our share, and we're happy to report that essentially right now 100% of our funds are either spent or encumbered. We've spent $588,000 on business grants, and we have written checks to all those businesses. That money has gone out to the businesses in our community. We had a competitive process to do that, and I think most of the checks were somewhere in the range of $5,000 to $6,000. We're doing building modifications to a lot of our facilities to allow for better social distancing. You'll note we've budgeted $80,000. We've only spent $12,000, but we've got purchase orders out, and the work is in progress right now. We'll be finished by early December with those modifications. Computers, laptops, equipment for remote working. A lot of upgrades to our facilities. Again, we've done most of that. Only $3,000 is encumbered. We've done some cleaning equipment and facility or equipment that we needed for that, and most of that has been spent. $60,000 is budgeted, and we've spent $58,000 so far. Public communication notification, we're 100% spent. $31,500. Technology upgrades to a lot of our buildings. That's probably the one that's taken the longest. We've only spent $348 of $229,000, but the purchase orders are all issued. The work is commenced last week and will be finished by early December. So that is all encumbered as well. And then PPE supplies, we've spent $82,500. That is complete. And then compliance, being, you know how that works with attorneys and working with our auditors to make sure that everything is spent appropriately, that is complete as well. So we are pleased that we've been able to allocate 100% of our funds. We will be done. I know the concern is by the end of the year, and we will be there.
All right, thank you. Anybody on the board have any questions? Commissioner Gambrell. I'm sorry, Commissioner Burrow. You look so much alike.
Yeah, really. That's not a compliment for Kelly.
You're both, all the ladies here are just.
There's a reason for social distancing here.
Just out of curiosity, not that it's an issue, the business grants that y'all gave out, do you know how many or if any of them also received the Select Cobb Small Business Grant?
They were eligible to receive both. We gave out about 125 grants, I think roughly was ours were a lot smaller than the Cobb grants, and we did some at-home businesses too. So we weren't, we were looking at it as a different category. You know, they had to prove a loss to us. And so everything got reviewed by our finance department, and if they were able to prove that they suffered a loss or their revenues were down, they were eligible for funds.
Okay, just wondering.
And on behalf of the mayor, he asked us to share a little video with you that he presented last week at his town hall meeting.
Okay, terrific.
We are so thankful that we are a community that God continues to bless, and we're going to ask Him for a great solution to this pandemic. We thank you all. God bless you all.
But, Ackworth's such a great community. I mean, like, I was on the phone with a person who runs a restaurant yesterday, and all they wanted to talk about, not so much about, how this has affected their business. They just wanted to talk about how they could help. So,
I am seeing more and more people reaching out to one another and saying, hey, I'm here for you. Do you need to talk? Do you just need a friend?
You can't say enough about the heart of our community in time of need. Everybody always steps up and do what's right.
It's a blessing. It's really a blessing. Some people don't believe in the good Lord, but I know if you do one good favor, somebody that do a favor, but you got to always turn favors back. That's what I'm saying.
Again, we couldn't have done this without the partnership with Cobb County. We really appreciate it. We thank you so much, and we just value our relationship with you. We want to thank you.
As we do with you and the city of Nashville. Please give our regards to the mayor and look forward to seeing him sometime again in the future.
All right.
Thank you so much. Okay, City of Austell.
Good afternoon. I'm Rachel Yarbrough with the City of Austell. Mayor Clemens could not be here. I'm just going to cover 3 quick slides. The first, our award amount, the first one was $375,000. Okay, and the next one, to date, we've spent about $175,000 of that. primarily on emergency supplies, technology, professional cleaning, things like that. And then we have also dedicated about $126,000 for our public safety salaries. Those have either been submitted for approval or the payroll registers for the salaries will be submitted this week. And the last slide is just what we have proposed. We've identified 4 projects that will be started probably next week. They've all been discussed with the county in terms of eligibility. The mayor and council have approved them, and they're currently going through the internal purchasing procedures of the city. So we expect the first 3 to be completed by the end of November, and the last one will probably spill over into December, but I know the concern is that it's spent by the end of December, and we don't feel like there'll be any problem spending it by then.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board? All right, please give our best to the mayor. Hope to see him sometime in the near future. Thank you so much. City of Kennesaw.
Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for inviting us today to give you an update. My name is Jeff Drobny. I'm City Manager in Kennesaw. And so on behalf of the Mayor and City Council, again, I want to just follow up with what Brian said. We certainly appreciate the partnership and the willingness of the county to work with us. We value that and look forward to continuing that strong relationship. So we've got 4 slides. One is just a summation of the dollars that we had received and where those are headed. We received approximately $1,788,000. 100% of that is committed. And I won't go through everything that we've spent dollars on. A lot of it was spent related to PPE, everything from face masks early on to hand sanitizer, to HEPA filters, to really everything that was needed to get us through the initial days, weeks, and early months of this pandemic. Since that time, we've been able to purchase laptops to support employees working from home. We simply didn't have that ability to telework, and that has been very, very helpful in the proper distancing and spacing of our employees. One of the other things that was critical to us is that our council chambers are relatively small. And so we have not only our council meetings and our work sessions, but also court, which is held there once a week, sometimes twice a week, depending on the load. And it's been very difficult because of the number of people that we have to limit into the court chambers. And so we've had to set tents up outside and have lines and really work through that process. And so these COVID dollars have allowed us to add audio-visual equipment to the community center. And if you've been there, that provides us ample space, not only for our work sessions and our council meetings as overflow, because we can, at the height of the pandemic, we could only seat 12 people within our council chambers. You can imagine the court process when you have hundreds of cases coming in each week. So now we're able to move, and we're in that process. We got an update today. They're about 80% complete, and they should be done by this week so that we can have overflow, but we can also move those court hearings into the Ben Robertson Community Center and utilize that entire space and not have employees sitting outside in December or January or people coming into court or for large public gatherings, hearings, so that we're able to house that overflow. We've also been able to invest dollars into our facilities, into our restrooms for touchless sinks and urinals and toilets to help stop the spread of COVID. And then we've been able to upgrade and renovate some of the entryways in some of our facilities where our employees, there was no visible barrier at all. They were open to people walking directly up, and so we're now able to, and they're in the process of doing that today and this week and next week, to install new barriers into the community center, into the museum, and also signage at the garden. So The largest amount of the dollars are being spent for public safety salaries, as we were allowed to do, and that's approximately $1 million. So altogether, again, the expenditures are at 100%. You can go through the next slide if you can. This just gives you an overview of what's going on in the Ben Robertson Community Center. So this area was open before. There were no barriers for our employees. People will come in. We'll have the automatic screening machines to take temperatures, and then that will allow people to come in or provide a signal to that staff that those people, their temperature is elevated and they will have to leave. But it's also a protective barrier. You can go to the next one. This is at the garden, allow us to put in some signage out there, hand sanitizing stations, signage throughout the garden, encouraging social distancing, encouraging people to use hand sanitizer, which is provided, and a directional signage for restrooms for hand washing and that type of a thing. Go to the next one. This is at the museum again. People will come in, proper queuing. Instead, if you've ever been in there, instead of just gathering in a central point, having queuing, proper distancing, and proper spacing. And again, anybody that comes into that, because it is tourist-driven, will need to have their temperature taken and authorized to proceed through. So I just wanted to provide those as an overview. So that's it.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Okay, well, thank you very much, and please extend our best to the mayor. I understand he's whipping some young men and women into shape as the new junior ROTC instructor at one of your high schools.
He is. He is, and I talked to him just before we came down here, and he sends his regards, so thank you.
Okay, thank you. Hey, the city of Marietta.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Appreciate the opportunity to be here. My name is Bill Bruton. I'm the City Manager for the City of Marietta. On behalf of the Mayor and all of our council members, I want to thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today, and thank you very much for the cooperative spirit that you've had all throughout this process and giving us the money that we really needed to make sure that everybody is safe in our community. I want to go through just one slide with you today. We're using the public safety presumption, which we took actually just the fire salaries that deal with suppression. So if you see the slide that we've got up, our public safety salaries going from 3/1 to 7/1/2020 were $4,800,000 in police. We didn't use any of the police salaries. Then if you look at payroll for fire, we've got $3,800,903,000. And public safety total ends up $8,742,506.40. Well, like I said, we actually deducted the police salaries out of that, which just left us fire. So you end up with $3,893,000. We then even went further and we said, let's take out the fire administration division because they're not directly responding to potential COVID calls, and that's shown there as the $131,000. We took out fire prevention division. They're the same thing. They're not out there in the field responding directly to COVID calls, although they were having to make a lot of inspections in potential COVID situations. But we took that out for $231,000. And then we took the training division out also, although they were training at that particular point various members of our organization, internally and externally, in what they need to do under COVID procedures. So we took them out too. That left $3,406,000. The allocation that we were allowed through Cobb, which we appreciate greatly, was $3,183,194.10. Therefore, we allocated the $3,400,000 to that $3,100,000 for the total that we have here. And we appreciate very much the two checks that have been written for us on that. I also would like to mention, just of interest, we also have $700,000 in CDBG dollars that we're also allocating to the community, and we've allocated over $300,000 of that right now. We're in the process of allocating the other $400,000. The original amount went to 3 organizations, went to the Salvation Army, to Cobb Family Resources, and to MUST, and it's specifically for rent assistance and also for utility assistance so that we can keep people in their homes. And we intend on probably doing that similar usage of the money with the rest of the $400,000. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And any questions from the board? Commissioner Burrell?
Hey, Bill, how are you today?
Great, how are you doing?
So, are you going to be able to pay the police salaries at the 4.8 million?
What this actually is a reimbursement, it's a reimbursement of prior payments for salaries. And so it's the time period from March to July. So it's actually reimbursement of the city paying out those salaries previously.
Okay. But you won't get reimbursed for the police through C.A.R.E.S.?
From what I hear, if there was going to be a phase two, which there evidently is not, from what the governor said, then we would have come forward with either some additional fire or police salaries to be reimbursed for. But from what I'm told, that is not going to happen at the state level, and I don't think at the Cobb level either.
Okay. I just want to make sure the police were taken care of.
Oh, yeah, let me say, the money that's coming in for this, it will not affect police or fire differently in any way. Okay.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and please give our regards to the mayor.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, the city of Powder Springs.
Good afternoon. Thank you for inviting the City of Powder Springs, Mr. Chairman, and Cobb County Commissioners. My name is Ashley Yeomans, Assistant to the City Manager for City of Powder Springs, here on behalf of our Mayor and Council, as well as our City Manager, Pam Connor. I have just 5 slides to share for you, so I'll go through them pretty quickly. So this first slide just kind of goes over what our draft budget looked like at the beginning of the process. We met with the mayor and council a few times to just make sure where they wanted to head and what their wishes were, as well as we got some information from our department heads on what needs were in our city facilities. The biggest budget area was under programming to serve the public in separate capacities, and I will go into more details about each of those in the coming slides. So the biggest one, we had budgeted $400,000 for our small business grant. We did have a first round that was due October 1st. We are just ready to award those first rounds, and because we had some leftover from our budget, we decided to do a second round for that and kind of lessen the requirements and the eligibility requirements for that. We did base most of our grant requirements similar to what ACWORTH had mentioned, so we did do it similar to them, and we do anticipate and hopefully be able to use most of those funds for the second round. We've gotten a lot of inquiries compared to the first round for the second round. However, if we do have money left over to return, we would look at reimbursing for previous funds that the city had used closer to the beginning of the pandemic for things such as PPE, sanitation, virtual meeting licenses, things like that. So this is our technology. So under this, we had budgeted both to assist our local schools and also to upgrade our city technology in order to facilitate virtual work. Under schools, for Chromebooks, we did order 300 Chromebooks to distribute to our local schools to enable virtual learning. Those should be in the next couple of weeks. For hotspots, we actually have already distributed those. And for iPads, we have distributed some, but we are waiting on some orders. And for the city, we did receive hotspots for that, and then everything else has been ordered. Our public programming, we did partner with the Center for Family Resources to offer housing and utility assistance to our residents, and that includes mortgage and rent. We allocated $111,000 to this program to have them administer the program. As of last week, they had already serviced 11 households since we began on September 30th. And when I talked to the executive director, she did believe that we would be able to spend it before the deadline. And then finally, this is some of the city facility items that we have ordered. As you can see, the shared office space partitions have been completed. Most of the rest of it had been ordered, and there have been quotes solicited for the lighting and lamps to help with disinfecting. So all of this is to help sanitation and social distancing for our city staff and our city facilities. And that is my last slide, and thank you all for your partnership as well, and inviting us here today.
Okay, any questions from the board? Hearing none, again, thanks, please give our best to the mayor, and thank you for working, we do value our partnership with you as well.
Thank you.
And Smyrna, City of Smyrna.
Chairman, Commissioners, thank you again for inviting us today, and on behalf of Mayor Norton and our other council members, thank you for the partnership and the ongoing partnership, and as well as the C.A.R.E.S funding partnership. So Ms. Kristen Robinson, our Finance Director, was to appear today to address, but she has had some family emergency issues, so here I am. Our initial award was just under $3 million, $2.968 million. And of that, we received $1.484 million lump sum advance. To date, our actual expenditures are $625,485, with another $201,710 in encumbrances. Next slide. Brought before council was our first request, was for reimbursement for PPE supplies that had been expended, additional PPE supplies for our staff, as well as temperature monitoring stations, building retrofit with plexiglass and the likes, and some immediate needs in technology that we had. Request number 2 through Mayor and Council was for additional technology to include laptops for our staff, mobile hotspots, other technology that the staff needed to function remotely. And our request number 3 is additional technology for remote monitoring of our server rooms to keep IT staff from having to enter and exit the buildings, as well as electronic planning software for our fire department and community development. This totals the $1.973,136. Outstanding programs that we have ongoing, a small business grant. The applications are due by October the 30th. Something similar to what Ackworth is carrying out. We're offering a $1,500 grant to eligible businesses once we do an evaluation and find that they, in fact, have had a loss through COVID. Also, a mobile hotspot program. We partnered with Cobb County School District to provide mobile hotspots for the students in need. And we ordered 300 hotspots. All have been distributed, and that amount is $162,000 through the end of December. The remaining funds left over at this point will be used for public safety salaries. Our fire response, jail, police, and E911 annual budget is $11.3 million. We're asking for a 20% reimbursement for 9 months, which is in the neighborhood of $1.7 million. Any questions?
Questions from the board? Okay, well, thank you very much for your time today, and please give our best to the mayor.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And with that, I believe we're adjourned.